Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report. I'm John, coming to you today with the big news is that Kamala Harris has picked Mr. Waltz from the Minnesota area to be her running mate. Moderate, I guess, school teacher background, and she's hoping to get a hold of the school unions, I'm sure, and to garner Minnesota, which wasn't really much of a worry to me because Minnesota has always been on the left of everything and very, very liberal all through history. And if you look back at the past runnings for president that came out of Minnesota, they didn't do well with the rest of the country because they were virtually unknowns, which this guy is definitely not known nationally at all. He has a conservative background as liberals go, or moderate background, and that's what they're going to be hyping up all the news about on your mainstream media channels that are bought and paid for by the Democratic Party, and just in case you didn't know that. And Kamala continues to act presidential, according to some. But she was in the Situation Room yesterday discussing, carrier movements and preparing for war and what we're going to do about the strife in the Middle East. And I'm sure she was her input to Half-Dead Joe sitting in that room must have been brilliant at best, is all I can say. Mm-hmm. This woman cannot even explain economy without going off into some esoteric psychobabble that she comes up with most of the time. And when she gets into doing news conferences where there is unscripted, without teleprompter, she's going to have a little bit of a problem. We see that and we know that now. She is just a younger version of Joe Biden with the same amount of acumen to do the job as Joe Biden had, which is absolutely zilch. And then Pelosi comes out yesterday and wants to put his image on Mount Rushmore because he is a decidedly great president. What in the world is she smoking, is my question. Shocking. We all know that Joe Biden's tenure in government work, especially his tenure as a senator, was less than impressive in itself. Never mind his actions as a VP to Obama, in which we all know that Obama is probably still running things, looking for his fourth term now, using Kamala to get his way again, as far as fundamentally changing this country into a crap hole third world country through socialism, is what his fundamental change for the U.S. meant when he was running for president. And it hasn't changed very much since. The fact that we opened the borders wide, and now it was reported this morning that we have 33,000 plus Chinese nationals that have entered through our southern border and peppered through this country. 33,000 of these people, all young men of military age and some training, have been peppered through our country. Does this sink in? Because if it isn't sinking in, you need to seek help. Not to mention the other millions of people that came in from Venezuela and other points around the globe, Africa, now Haitians are coming in, being flown in to different cities around the United States. How much more can we absorb in this country and take care of and worry about a tragedy hitting us from within our own borders, which we know now we don't have a southern border? If you think for 1 second that under Kamala Harris is going to be a shade bit different, you have another thing coming, because it's not going to happen. Why in the world did we allow this to happen and stay silent through the 3.5 years? Actually, if we want to back up to the Obama years, the only thing that changed was we had a disruptor come in between Obama and Biden and mess things up.
Excellent, excellent.
Which brings me to a point. How can anyone hate a man as much as people hate Donald Trump, and for what reason? This guy was everybody's darling when he was doing The Apprentice and when he was developing real estate in New York, which employed a lot of people. And then he runs for president and everybody decides that he needs to be the most hated person in the world. We have sat through and watched fake trials, indictment after indictment, accusing him of this, that, and the other thing, 2 impeachments, and yet through it all, he managed to do the job that he was elected to do in his term, did it well, and we all benefited from it. But yet now we're told by our government, by our legacy media, and that means all of them, and even on these platforms that I'm speaking to you on now, you're being told to hate a man for what? For what reason? He's been called a dictator. He's been called Hitler. He's been called the devil. Hatred in anyone's heart for any one thing or one human being will make you ill. Don't forget that. Hatred of an individual because you're being told to hate them, this is what racism was all about. Not picking on somebody because they're different, just because you're told that they're different and need to be picked on. We've gotten so thin-skinned, and I guess Kamala yesterday re-upped on her, we all need to be woke. This wokeism hasn't done us any good, in case she's wondering. But God Almighty, we cannot survive. This country, this republic cannot survive 4 years more of the Obama, Biden, Harris idea of what America should be and look like. We need to be strong in a burning world today, not show more misalignment and weakness around this world right now. Can this all be brought back and put together? Absolutely. It's going to take work, and it's going to take people in a cabinet that actually have the acumen to Apply what is needed to fix the problem, not add to the problem. Some of our problems in cost of goods right now are directly related to transportation, Mr. Buttigieg. Here's a perfect example of someone in a cabinet position in charge of transportation that does not have a clue of what the job entails. Not to mention that we have a problem with the Houthi rebels holding up shipping that's coming out of that region right now, and we can't do a darn thing about it because we're afraid of upsetting the Palestine people and Iran, which we have enriched through stupidity. And now they're rattling sabers about getting even with Israel, but we just lost 13 more soldiers in Iraq due to explosives supplied by Iran. We did a pull down in Iraq, and we allowed the Chinese in Iran to come in through the back door once more. Diplomacy will work with the right individuals applying experience and knowledge into that diplomacy to come up with a solution, whether it's a two-state solution or a solution to the Ukraine problem. These things can be worked out, but it's not going to be worked out by a weak Kamala Harris laughing her way through a meeting with Vladimir Putin, if she even has an idea of going and sitting with these people. You need to stay close to your enemies and understand their thinking and have a solution on hand when you do have the opportunity to sit and work out a problem. Her explanation of the economy question that she received yesterday was less than brilliant. Well, we all know that the price of bread and gas has gone up. Why? Well, because the cost of living has gone up. You could not write this into a sitcom and have it be believable, but yet the mainstream media wants you to buy off on all of this. It's amazing. What's even more amazing is they do interviews with people in the street who think that she is going to be Wonder Woman. She does not have a track record of allowing her to even be the vice president that she is now, because her experience there was never shown, because she didn't do anything for the entire 3.5 years that she sat in the position of Vice President of the United States. Not one visit to the border, which she was put in charge of by Joe Biden. And they're trying to reverse that now, but trust me, it was her job.
What a maroon.
One and only job. And she messed that up. Or didn't care enough to be involved. Or there's a reason she was told to stand down and just let these people come in. Is it votes? Is it redistricting of population to get more whatever for votes? It could be. But I believe that we're in jeopardy now because we let too many of the wrong people cross into our country and are living off our welfare systems being given credit cards, money. How do you think the people in Appalachia feel about that? Or the people that live in the black community in Chicago that has been inundated with these refugees that are coming in and not only taking their positions and their jobs, but selling stuff in the streets and living in the streets and messing up their community.
Oh, for God's sake!
Where was the dole out for them? Remember this when she comes for your black vote in those communities, because she's now black. There's quite the controversy going on right now with what she can or cannot accomplish in a term as president of these United States. And if we don't start to pray now for guidance and make the correct decision, either in early voting or waiting till November, which I think is a smart move, because if you do an early vote now and find out something a little further down the road, you can't take that back. And that goes for either side. But right now we know what President Trump accomplished and can accomplish. We also now know what Vice President Harris has been able to accomplish and will continue not to accomplish if elected.
Not one bit, sir.
So it's there before your eyes. You're hearing it every day on this platform, Rumble, all of the mainstream media. She's a darling right now because they have no other place to go, and they're bought and paid for by the Democratic Party to carry their agenda and do Beelzebub's work here in this country. So pray every day for the salvation of this republic in this nation, that we can come back to the splendor that we once enjoyed in the American dream. And with that, it's Tuesday, folks. The stock market was in terrible shape yesterday, closed way down. I don't know if it will bounce back today. The economy is extremely answering to the possibility of a Kamala Harris win, and what would happen to the rest of the economy if that were to take place. Think about this. Think about it long and hard. Even the Amish communities I heard this morning are talking about voting in some cases for the first time because they're worried that their religion will be compromised, along with their lifestyle and their exemption numbers. That should tell you something. God loves us all. God's watching. I don't think that saying a prayer to whoever your higher power is, please do. Because we need prayer in this country. We need common sense back in offices that have been devoid of common sense for 8 to 10 years now. Probably more. And when we get common sense and good stability back in our government seats, then we're back on the road. And we will be resplendent one more time in the eyes of the world as the guiding light. With that, have a great rest of the Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. Go get yourself a taco, burrito, and enjoy, but don't forget to pray for our nation and for the leaders that are making decisions around the world today. And God bless you all. Bye-bye now.